Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. Sorry about the dark screen. No, it's very dark already. It's only half three at night here, but it's only 3:30. But it's already quite dark. So sorry about that. No, I've got too many lights on, but maybe I should have put a few more on. I didn't realize how dark it was till I saw the screen. So please forgive me for that one. But I know in the cost of living crisis, I normally get in trouble for leaving lights on and stuff like that. So, I'm thinking like leave it for an hour or so before I put lights on. Too many lights, but I do have a lamp on. But anyway, sorry about the lighting. I'll say, and hopefully I won't have too many tech issues. I seem to have a tech issue with Facebook struggling to upload, and then for some reason YouTube seemed to cut out my video. So I don't know what happened there, but it seemed like Facebook was giving me a tech issue, and then it happened with the YouTube, which seemed to happen. I think it was when it was in Euro 2024. I was going to say Euro 2026, but sorry, I'll try and get to the point. Sorry. But so yeah, I thought I was having tech issues with Facebook, saying you're posting too much, but it was actually YouTube, and then they deleted my channel. So hopefully nothing too bad happens. Hopefully I'll put at least one, if not two, copies of this. So either be on Facebook or YouTube, or preferably both. But yeah, I struggled to sleep quite a lot, and I struggled to wake up. I was so tired, and I kept waking up and going back to sleep, and just not having the energy even to get up to feed the cat. So I think by the time I got my butt and the rest of me out of bed was like 12:30 or even a bit later than that. So not doing too well. I thought I was going to get up at 11. Like I got up about 9, and I really wanted to have the energy, or 8 even. I really wanted to have the energy to get up out of the bed and the rest of me. And then I put my alarm for 11, half 11, 12, and then half 12, and just absolutely shattered. So I think it's because of my depression and struggling with a few issues, which I might not mention until I'm going to mention more of those in part 2. And I'm open about like depression, paranoia, and anxiety, and things like that sometimes. So about mental health problems and that kind of thing, basically. But anywho, sorry. On to today's topic, and welcome to as I put it, part 1. Sometimes normally I call it part, but sometimes I call it pot. Or yesterday I called it port, just for a bit of a difference, a bit of a laugh. I don't know why I did that, but I thought it was a bit of a play on words, like with dyslexia. I wondered if people would notice. Now I'm giving away anyway, but I wondered if people would notice and perhaps ask, did Michael do that on purpose, or was that a typo or whatever? So, one of my quirky traits. But anyway, today I want to focus on. I do want to talk a bit about Italian football and about Celtic, if I can, but and how I'd love for them to be world class and be as successful as possible, the best in the world, and that kind of thing, especially Italian football. And certainly Scotland to be the best in Celtic to be the best in Scotland, and to be world class preferably. And congratulations to Scotland fans. I'm not too bothered about Scotland, I'll admit, especially when it comes to football. But congratulations, I'm happy for them. They're doing quite well. Seems like they're like Italy in reverse. Like Italy's expected to get to World Cups. This could be the third where we're out, unfortunately. And Scotland, it's like almost the opposite. I think it's 30 years since they've been to World Cup, and this is the first one in 30 years, therefore, which they've got to. But I hope Italy gets through the qualifiers. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. I mainly want to focus on Native American empowerment, and in this case, for works by Native Americans. Now, the ideas could also be applied to neurodivergent people and the black community, the black diaspora in Britain, America, and across Africa, Asia, and worldwide. And some back in Asia as well. But here goes. These are pointers number 1 to 10, as per usual. And please let me know what you think on that note. Hopefully it won't be too harsh. But yeah, please bear in mind, I have been going through some depression, and also my eyes are really sore for some reason. That's because I overslept, underslept, or I'm too panicky and nervous, or I'm not eating right, or whatever it might be. A diet catching up with me in old age. But before I get too much depressed, I'm going to crack on with the video, so hopefully that'll cheer me up a bit, talking about my mad ideas. So here goes. So number 1, I love to support Native American poets, and again, this could apply. Sorry, I want to get myself. I could have said, I suppose. Normally, I get the selfish thing out of the way. I hope Italian football does really well. And a bit of a side note, I might talk a bit about Italian football as well as Celtic. But yeah, I love to see how Italian football could benefit by supporting Native Americans, and that could improve its PR. But yeah, I love to support Native American poets, and again, these ideas could all apply to neurodivergent people around the world and the black diaspora globally, as well as others, I guess, to be fair. But yeah, I love to, like, for instance, raise a profile off and read about and find out about. Although I don't really read, but at least online, like do my own sort of type of research a little bit, maybe just like I did for black poets, artists, and writers. And again, I could do similar for neurodivergent people. So hopefully next year, I don't think I'll get around to it this year, but hopefully next year in July, August, September, and or November, at least one of those months. I know sometimes people say if you have so much time to do things, and certainly if you feel you've got so much time, you don't get around to doing them. So I hope to sort of remember, but please help me to remember if you can. I need to get some organisational tool perhaps, something to remind myself. I know I try and take notes if I can, and I love to get my thoughts onto paper if I can, but I do struggle with writer's block. But maybe I should try and find a way to program it on this phone, but I need Siri or something like that on my phone to organise me. But yeah, I hope to remember either in July, August, my birth month, funny enough, September, or November, Native November in this case, to read about 40 or whatever Native American poets. Number 2, same with artists, same sort of thing with artists. And number 3, same sort of thing with authors or writers. So I call that PAW, in this case Native PAW, Native American PAW. So PAW, poets, artists, and writers. I know it's the same thing for the black community, but just in case people didn't see that video, I'll just remind myself and others. So I'll say works, whether that's poetry, art, and or writing by Native American poets, artists, and writers, respectively. Number 4, so I love to support their works generally, and also to find out what we can learn from Native Americans about being anti-war and how Native Americans could be part of the anti-war movement. To me, POC generally should be part of anti-war movements and not join militaries, and instead support Native Americans. So yeah, I love to support their works, including like works where they could write poetry and also do spoken poetry as well as art. Spoken art. They could do poetry, art, and writing, and spoken poetry included, to poetry and including spoken poetry as well as art and writing to talk about being anti-war. Number 5, I love to listen to and read from Native Americans about their aims and ambitions, and to encourage them to share their ambitions. If you know anyone who's Native American, please share these videos with them. I'd love to get them involved in the discussions. I'd love to interview them about their works and things like that, and get involved in the discussion. So if you're interested in that, you're very welcome. If you want to be an ally or whatever, or if you are already an ally for Native Americans, or trying to get into be an ally, as I say, so we can share how to help Native Americans with their ambitions. In this case, on Wednesdays, as I like to focus on works Wednesdays, including writings, also another way that ends with W, but I say poetry, art, and or writing. Number 6, I'll say, from a selfish point of view, I'd love to see AC Milan. Funny enough, I'm wearing the AC Milan cap, which my brother got me from Milan, as I mentioned before. But I'd love to see Italian teams like AC Milan especially, and other Italian teams working with Native Americans and having academies and supports clubs, and maybe getting support from FIFA and even UEFA, but especially from FIFA, in return for doing so. Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool in return for promoting the beautiful game and that kind of thing around the world. I hope Italy qualifies. I was going to say, going off topic, I hope Italy qualifies for the World Cup. I hope we might play, again, sorry, I'm going off topic, I know, but we might play either Northern, I say we as a supporter of Italian football, we might play either Northern Macedonia, and of course Sweden, 2 teams we could get revenge on, and of course Northern Ireland or Romania, 2 other teams. I suppose Romania could talk about getting revenge on us for beating them. Northern Ireland could be a really tricky one, but I hope we can come together. I want to talk a lot about, like, in fact, if I wasn't making videos on Native Americans, I'd probably be talking a lot more about, in fact, I'd certainly be talking a lot more about Italian football, but maybe if I'm lucky today, well, I did start late because I woke up late, maybe if I'm lucky and I have the time, I might get around to talking about how I love for Italian football and Celtic to be world class. Yeah, AC Milan, because in black and red, rather controversially, I love for them to have academies and be amongst the first and the biggest to have perhaps the most academies and sports clubs for Native Americans. I'm sure others will try and follow suit for their PR and that kind of thing. As the game is very global now, people want to have sports worldwide, and also as it's black and red, like improving relations with the black diaspora as well. that's a bit off topic, but I hope that when it comes to Italy as well, the national team, I dream that all citizens within Italy, including the migrants and refugees, politicians, councillors, businesses, and the wider society will all get behind the team and sort of chant them on. So we're going to come together with positive energy and hopefully see Italy through this difficult time, football-wise. I know it's a first world problem, guilty pleasure, and all that kind of thing. But also working with those from the diaspora and also Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians, I dream we'll all get behind and sort of back the Azzurri. Reminds me a bit of, but I thought it's a bit corny, but there's I think it's called Elf or something, a film called Elf. I don't really watch many films, but I thought it was a bit cheesy, corny, or whatever the word is, but they were singing like this song to Power Santa or whatever. So I was thinking about that, but I don't know if that's the best example, but I dream that we'll all get behind the team, behind the Azzurri, and see them through and say all the players are going to play for pride and passion and get us through and do what's best for the team, even like rival football fans like AC Milan and Inter fans getting behind the team and that kind of thing. I'd love for Juventus to provide loads of good young players for the national team and be proud to provide young players, even if I wonder if Juventus fans would be happy with that. But as a fan of Italian football generally, I'd love for them to be able to say we provide good young players, as Juventus means youth. So we give many young players opportunities. So we're proud to help Italy to win, even if it means sacrificing trophies themselves. I don't know if any other fans of Juventus would be happy to do that as a fan of Italian football more generally, if they only support Juventus and that kind of thing. Would they be prepared to forego trophies to win that? But again, I know I'm going way off topic, but I'd love to get Native Americans into football, and as a fan of Italian football and Celtic, I dream that teams like AC Milan as well, Celtic, will help them to get into football. I hope to support. Going back to the topic at hand, hopefully, if I'm lucky, I'll talk more. If I'm lucky, I'm blessed enough to do so, I'll talk more about Italian football a bit later today. Ideally, Manchester on Friday as well, football Fridays, Manchester soccer Saturday and Sunday. But yeah, hopefully, I'll have an opportunity to do so. But yeah, I'm mad, I know. But I'd love to support works by Native Americans. Going back to the topic at hand, and I can't think of anything else for point number 6, just probably for the best. So I'm going to move on to number 7. Similar with Celtic. I was thinking with Celtic, again, I'm sorry I'm going off topic a little bit, but with Celtic, again, I'd love for them to have academies and through the foundation to help Native Americans, for instance, to get into football, to listen to their views, to help them with their medical support, to support poets, artists, writers, women and people generally from Native American communities in all sorts of different fields to empower them, education, teaching, training, and all sorts of things, and work on doing that, helping them in business and that kind of thing. Basically to fundraise for the Native American communities and empower them and support them and uplift them as much as possible towards a mutual benefit, hopefully. But with Celtic, I saw that, I saw that, I have to mention a point before I forget it, but I saw that they have a video on their YouTube, on their club's official YouTube channel, which was about Sean Maloney, a former player of Celtic. Well, I admit, I've not been a Celtic fan for a huge amount of time, probably been 5 or 10 years or so. I was always just a big fan of Italian football, but as an anti-imperialist, I support Celtic. My one concession for supporting Italy is to support them in football, in spite of the fact that they were a colonising country. But I don't want to go too much into that right now. But sorry, I will try and get to the point. But with Celtic, they put a video out on a former player. I don't know a huge amount about him, but I think he's working with Martin O'Neill at the moment. But it seems to me, I'm a bit fearful that they're going for, again, I know it's a first world problem kind of, but I fear that it could be like the COVID season. And I feel like the board, I fear the board is going for like the cheaper option by hiring Sean Maloney instead of going for this player Wilfred. I'm going to call his surname Nancy because that's how it's spelled in English. I think it's pronounced something a bit that sounds crude in English. So I'm not going to say that, especially in England. But yeah, especially as our rivals call us that and accuse of being that. So, but anyway, sorry, people might not know if they don't know about football, might not know what I'm talking about. But I did mention recently. Basically, his surname is, I'll just say it, his surname is Nancy, which is sort of a rude word in English. It kind of means paedophile or pedophile or whatever that Americans would say. So just to clarify that, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm just going to call him Wilfred Nancy, as that's how his name would be pronounced in English. I mean, the spelling of it is how we would say Nancy, the name Nancy. But I think Wilfred is quite good. Even that's probably pronounced differently from French to English in terms of words. But our founder was called Brother Wilfred, so we could just shout Brother Wilfred. So I'd love for the supporters to shout, for the Celtic supporters to shout the manager's name each game like they did for Martin O'Neill. And if Martin O'Neill's still in charge for a while, I hope they don't do that again. But to give the team the lift and get behind the manager, and also even if Sean Maloney isn't, I'll shout his name, Mr. Maloney, Sean Maloney, and all that kind of thing, or Mr. Maloney or whatever. But if we get Wilfred, they could shout Brother Wilfred, because he was a founder of the club as well. Getting behind the team and all that kind of thing, just like they did with Andrew Postecoglou and other managers, including Martin O'Neill. But anyway, sorry for those who are not into football. But I dream the club will fundraise for supporting works from Native Americans. But yeah, going back to my fears for Celtic again, I'm going a bit off topic, so please forgive me again. But I fear the club is going for the cheaper option and not going for this guy. The other thing is he doesn't have much European experience, but I dream that he'll be like Andrew Postecoglou Part 2. And maybe even do even better. I'd love for him to win a trophy in his the treble in his first season, because Ange only won 2 in his first season, which is great. But I say only in speech marks, because it's still really impressive. And then he won a treble, I think, in his second season. I wanted Brendan Rodgers to do that, but sadly it wasn't to be in his second season. But we won a double, so over time we've still won so many trophies. So I hope we continue to do so. But yeah, also I love for. I say the saying, many hands make light work, and I'll go through this quite a lot. I'm not that religious, but the saying about when we work together, we achieve a lot. So maybe Native Americans working together and bringing all their different tribes together to sort of share the same goals, ambitions, aims, and all that kind of thing, and support each other's works. They could support those things we talk about, like works by Native Americans, whether that's poetry, art, writing, women in business, or whatever it might be. And maybe they could make it easier. Imagine, if you would, an easy way to run a business. Sounds pretty cool, and yeah, sexy, if I can say that. I already have, I guess, but too late to take it back now, I guess. But yeah, it sounds pretty cool, shall we say? Pretty sexy to be able to make a business easy, to find an easy way, or even easy ways to make money. That'd be pretty cool. And I've talked before about like if they work together to make robots that can do all our chores, tasks, and errands to make life easier. It'd be pretty cool. Free us up to do things we do want to do. I'll drink that, as I say. I was thinking, I forgot. In point number 3, I normally like to have 3 sips of my tea. All right, point number 3, because of my strange patterns, but I forgot. But anyway, moving on. Number 8, as I say, I dream to bring together Native Americans, all the different tribal groups, and as many Native Americans as possible, and indeed Native people from all over the Americas, in fact, to work together politically and share ideas and work with allies, and for allies to look at how they get representation in worldwide bodies. I'll say another word that begins with W, so worldwide bodies. So like the UN or whatever, having seats or representation. And even if they can't get seats at such places themselves, when I think about what that entails, they could still have some people who represent them on their behalf, but maybe listen to them as well. So they don't just represent them without listening to them, but nothing about them without them. So as I say, for like people with disabilities, like nothing about us without us, people with physical, mental, or learning disabilities. Listening to what their goals are, and then giving that representation internationally. I love for POC, people of colour all around the world, and minorities, to support Native Americans, non-WASPs, maybe even people who are not white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, maybe using the hate of like the Ku Klux Klan and whatever to say that's going to help us to unite together and give a reason for Black, Hispanic, Asian, mixed race, and others to work together. Blacks, Asian, Black people, Asians, mixed race people, Native Americans, Latinos, Hispanics, and maybe even many Jewish people, or even non-WASPs, people who are not either white people who are not white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, to work together against hate and support each other. But as ever, I'd love to know what you think. Do you think I'm being naive or stupid even, or whatever? Or do you think I have a point, or somewhere in the middle, or whatever? I don't know. But whatever you think, please let me know. Hopefully it won't be too harsh. Please don't be a hater. leads them up instead. But number 9, as I say, I love to support works by Native Americans, poetry, art, writing, what I call poor, helping them with their ambitions and their priorities and their plans. And number 10, also inspiring and encouraging young people, maybe young Native Americans, to get into poetry, art, writing, and whatnot. Young women to get into business and things like that, for instance. I think like Women Wednesdays and that kind of thing. The businessy stuff normally I like to think of on Mondays and Tuesdays and Fridays, and startups on Saturdays and Sundays, as I often say. But sorry, I know I'm very repetitive. But on that note, hope you have a great time wherever you are, and I'm out. Peace and love.